My name is Paloma Vieton Cohen, and I'm a representative for the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in the U.S. As New Mexico is one of the 10 states that has a refugee resettlement program, I was assigned by the U.S. government to investigate the programs offered in New Mexico. This proposal will be addressed to the New Mexico Human Services, which is the body in charge of refugees in the state, so that it can make important improvements. As we are all aware, the international refugee crisis has aggravated to several factors such as civil wars and climate change. And in 2015, 59.5 million people are displaced throughout the world. Unfortunately, because of the recent Paris attacks and the threat of ISIS and other terrorist groups, the international community and regular citizens have become afraid of refugees and have put their future into question. However, we have to understand that refugees are not immigrants, which are the people that are looking for better economic opportunities, and nor they're terrorists. Refugees are the people who fear for their lives every day, people who refuse to pick up guns and kill other people. They are leaving their home, family, and culture to survive. However, why do they come to New Mexico? Well, New Mexico is one of the only 10 states chosen by the U.S. government to have a refugee resettlement program, and therefore New Mexico receives a lot of refugees from all around the world, the top 5 countries being Burma, Iraq, Cuba, Somalia, and Bhutan. Mexico is a very welcoming place because its diverse culture embraces Hispanics, indigenous populations, and several international immigrants. We do not think about it, but weather is a big contributor that makes resettlement possible. New Mexico offers mild temperatures and sunny days all year round. Furthermore, the economy of New Mexico has a big window of labor opportunity for refugees that go from manual labor to very specialized positions. New Mexico has 2 major resettlement programs. The first one is the New Mexico Resettlement Program, which is fully funded by the government, and its main goal is to provide financial assistance through cash programs that have a length of 8 months. When refugees arrive, they usually do not speak the language, they have left all their belongings and savings behind, and therefore, this funding makes a huge difference for their resettlement. Next, we have the Lutheran Family Services, which is fully funded by donations and volunteer work. So they do not offer cash programs, however, they provide transportation, English classes, translation, housing, and many more programs that help with social reintegration. Those 2 programs combined make a very encompassing approach to reintegrate the refugees by providing social and economic assistance. However, during my research, I found that the weak point of these 2 programs is that refugees are alienated from the society. They spend most of their time with other refugees, and therefore they do not get the chance to fully integrate and socialize with other Americans or internationals. And as stated before, due to the recent terrorist attacks, people are reluctant to accept refugees. So my proposal is to use the resources already in place, such as the University of New Mexico and its resources, so that the government doesn't need to spend huge amounts on their integration, which draw a lot of stigma from the population. The University of New Mexico has a large community of international students that to some level go through the same experience that refugees do. For example, I am an international student from Brazil at UNM, and when I arrived, I did not have any friends, not know the language, I did not know the culture, and I didn't have a job. And it was essential for me to reintegrate and meet people so I would have connections. So my idea would be first to invite refugees from those 2 programs to attend international office workshops. The Global Education Office at UNM offers weekly seminars with lectures about the American culture and language, immigration laws, finding a job, and buying a car, for example. Refugees could benefit from attending them. As they are already in place, the cost would also be minimized. The second idea is to have a program where there will be conversation sessions, because a lot of the students at UNM they study languages such as Farsi, Arabic, and Spanish, and the program would pair students with the refugees from those languages. They could both gain from practicing the language they're learning. For example, American student could learn Arabic, and then another hour, the refugee would practice English with this American. Also, UNM has an International Week that happens every semester, where international students cook food from their home countries, present about their cultures, and partake in several activities to show Americans a little bit about their countries with first-hand experience. The idea would be to invite refugees to present about their country and also bring food for the festival. This way, students, professors, and regular citizens would get to hear their story firsthand, and through communication, the stigma on refugees would be minimized. Furthermore, there will also be a volunteer program arranged by the Global Education Office in conjunction with the Lutheran Family Services and the New Mexico Refugee Resettlement Program, where Americans and international students from UNM would partake in volunteer work to help refugees with translation, housing, furniture, transportation, and other needs. At the end of the semester, having volunteer through the whole semester, um, depending on the week, but once a week at least, they would get 2 credits from UNM and a certificate of volunteer work. Finally, the biggest and most costly idea is to create a refugee scholarship, where the government would pay for the tuition of 10 refugees each semester. 5 scholarships would be given based on merit and grades, and 5 would be need-based. By giving the opportunity for refugees to start or to continue their studies, they would have a better chance of reintegration, and also in the future, they would give back to New Mexico by entering the labor market. UNM and New Mexico would benefit by becoming pioneers in the country to invest in such programs and give an example to the US and to the world of its humanitarianism. The budget for this program would be very low because we would be using already the institutions in place. UNM has already resources. We already have language programs at UNM. We already have an international office, and therefore the cost would be very minimal. The refugees workshops would only take around $2,000 a year because they're already in place, and the UNM office would only have to cover the materials, transportation, food, and media. The volunteer program, the idea is to cover the gas and transportation. So we would be taking volunteers and they would pay for gas and also for the materials, which cost around $1,500 a year. The refugee scholarship would be the costly one, but still the budget is very, very minimal. 10 scholarships would be awarded each semester, so that would be 20 scholarships per year. The tuition, in-state tuition, and fees right now cost around $6,664. So that would amount to $280 a year. The total budget amounting all those programs will come to $136,780, which is very, very low. By giving the chance for this reintegration, we would get to know more about the refugees, and so the stigma can be brought down. At the same time, refugees would benefit from the integration. We wouldn't have to spend a lot of money, a lot of funding, which would draw a lot of criticisms from citizens, and we could already put them in contact with the university, with professors, and also with just regular citizens like you and me. Conclusion. So by combining these 2 resources, the language programs, infrastructure, the international office, the refugee resettlement programs will maximize the social integration without creating new institutions and spending a lot of public funding, which citizens might argue against. The refugee scholarship would provide refugees a chance to get a degree, get back to the workforce, and contribute economically to the state, and at the same time gain individual benefits as income and social integration. So the refugees, the state, and the university would benefit from these programs. Americans would gain by 101 language programs and cultural workshops, where they enhance their knowledge about other cultures, about refugees in general. Refugees would gain social integration by showcasing their culture and history and have the opportunity to connect with other students, connect with people, connect with professors. And also, the state would gain from establishing an innovative program without having to spend too much. Thank you very much for watching this. I really appreciate it. This is a major, major issue in the world. Please do not let the stigma rise. We have to get to know these people. They are not leaving their country. They are not terrorists. They are people leaving their countries because they do not want to fight. They do not want to pick up guns and kill other people. They're trying to live a life where they don't have to fear for their lives every day. And by integrating them into society without having to use a lot of funding, they'll maximize the benefits from both of us, the refugees, and just for regular citizens like you and me. Thank you very much.